Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being with me today, Jess. I have been so excited to talk with you. How are you feeling today?
I am good. I should let you know I'm 6 months pregnant. Am I allowed to talk
know.
that? I feel like you're going to see it and it needs to be said.
Yeah, congratulations. Talk about a real, mompreneur here in the flesh. So it's wonderful. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. We're very excited.
Yeah.
Baby girl comes in January. So lots of things to do now.
Yeah, I love it. So you and I got to know each other through your husband, Mike, who's been a longtime friend of mine. And when I was sharing the idea of my TV show, he right away said, you have to talk to my wife. And, you've done some amazing things on your path to success. I would love to just open it up right now and just, why don't you share with our viewers just a little bit about you and who you are?
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, where could I start? Well, first of all, thank you to Mike for thinking that I would be good at this. So I have been kind of in the direct sales space of life for the last 7-8 years. I started off my adulthood career actually as a soccer coach, and which is a total kind of change in path of life. But I had some turbulent things that happened as my first daughter was around 4 years old. And so I had to reinvent myself. But I found myself in the direct sales space, really getting to reinvent who I was, creating my life of my dreams. And I feel pretty blessed. I don't think most people recognize it as a potential career. And I think it's proof that it is. So I think that's probably one of the big things that I'm known for, that, and probably also my passion for making sure that people know about pacemakers, which I don't know if I'm allowed to add that in too, but I'm letting you know because it's a cause that's really, really important to me. And through my career, I'm actually able to help give back to people who need pacemakers. And that's important to me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this idea, and we'll talk more about pacemakers in a moment too, but tell me a little bit more about this reinventing yourself, because the road to success is not always pretty. And sometimes we have challenges where we do have to reinvent. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So in my early career, as I just mentioned, I was a soccer coach. My ex-husband was actually my boss. And so when we, chose to separate, it was a little bit hard to stay in the same career when your ex-husband is your boss. Mm-hmm. And so he is still coaching. He's still having a lot of success there. But, it was a time where I had to go figure out what I was going to do. I had a 4-year-old daughter. I had to, keep the lights on and pay rent and, call it, you have to figure it out. It's on you now. Mm-hmm. So I ended up actually going to a jewelry party to tell you the truth. And I was that girl who bought the cheapest thing on the table because I didn't know what was going on in my life. And the person who was there running it took 20 seconds of courage. And she was like, why don't you sell some jewelry with me? We could make lots of money together. And I took her up on the offer. And I've always said that, 20 seconds of courage could actually change somebody else's life. So no matter what you're doing in life, don't be afraid to be an abundant offer and be there to support somebody else. So that was me really just changing my entire career path. I had never heard of the direct sales space before this. I didn't know women got together and drank and had parties and earned free things. I didn't know this was an actual thing that you could do. But that's how I actually reinvented myself. So I literally started booking jewelry parties. And through those jewelry parties, I was able to transition through the divorce. So you have to move, you have to get movers, you have to put the house on the market, you have to get a lawyer. There's all these things that you don't know that you have to do. You have to pay taxes for the first time by yourself. I won't lie, it was definitely scary. There was times, I remember sitting with my father and him trying to help me understand how to budget. Mm-hmm. And at one point, because I was making so little money and I no longer had my career and I was trying to find out what I could do next. And I had this direct sales business. I was kind of working at a preschool part-time to get paid $11 an hour to make some extra money. Mm-hmm. But I remember him saying, I think you might be in a position where you could actually apply for food stamps. And just being so taken back by this, because I had come from, a 3-story house, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 2 cars, like, this picture perfect thing, to my father saying, we're going to have to figure this out. And I refused, to take that as the solution. I was like, no, like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to work harder. Ella's never going to know anything different. She's not going to know that, mommy can't be a yes mom yet, but we have to go to the dollar store for treats. We'll just go to the dollar store. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. And I mean, that resonates so much with me, because I remember after my divorce, I was also building my coaching business and going and getting my master's degree. And I remember we had budgeted, Nicholas was about 3 at the time, it was $25 a week. That's what we could spend on anything fun. So yeah, it wasn't being a yes mom. It was, okay, how can we make this work? So it was, if we were going to go to the movies, it was, we're going to a matinee and we're bringing our own snacks with us, and finding these ways to sort of cut the corners so that we could still say yes, even though we really can't say too many yeses. So I resonate with that. And one of the things I love that you said is that idea of 20 seconds of courage. And what a powerful message, I think, for all of us to realize, not just in our own lives, but in paying it forward. And sometimes it's just taking that deep breath and having that 20 seconds of courage to go forward and to step into our greatness, and how it can change your life. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. I preach it. And even her name is Meg, the person who did the 20 seconds of courage. To this day, I still tell her she changed everything because she chose to go out of her comfort zone for me. Mm-hmm. But I think it can go for anything in life. People always say it's always a no unless you ask. Like, if you don't ask, it's always going to be a no anyway. So you might as well ask. Mm-hmm. So what would happen if you took 20 seconds of courage? Like, what would happen if you just assume like life is actually going to work in your favor? And if you ask, it's going to work out anyways, and just be brave enough to see what happens.
Yeah, I love it.
Be brave, by the way, was my hashtag through my whole divorce. I hashtag be brave on everything.
Yeah, being brave is so important. And, sometimes it's scary and it's hard to be brave. And, we've all had those moments. I went through a divorce too. And sometimes you have to just look, and again, you have to say, I have to do this to be able to go and to become the person I know I want to become. And, even though sometimes our kids and our other family members don't see that side, it's, knowing internally that we were brave enough. And I think that bravery is something beautiful that we have to embrace and go forward with.
I agree. I think there's also a little bit of just knowing inside of yourself that it's there. Mm-hmm. Like, even if you can't see that dream life, or like how you're going to get through that tunnel, like, that there is a way. Like, there's no other choice but for it to be the way. It's kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme that's like, I've survived 100% of my bad days. Mm-hmm. Like, so if I've already survived some of my worst days, like, what makes today any better? Like, exactly. Just keep going. But I think that to truly push through, you have to have this little kind of grit inside of you. Mm-hmm. That just says, like, no matter what, it's going to work out. And every day, like, I'm one conversation closer. I'm one moment closer. I chose a yes over a no one more time. Like, mm-hmm. And just know that each of those little things actually propel you forward.
I love it. So one of the things I want to ask you about too is, being that you are, a national executive director for your company, One Hope Wine, there's still trade-offs that we need to do. Again, you have a daughter, you are newly married, you have another baby on the way. What are some of the trade-offs that you have to give to make sure it all works? Yeah.
So, my team always makes fun. Well, maybe makes fun is not the right word, but they're always like, how do you do it all? Right. And I am very blessed that I'm in a situation where I do this full time. Right. And so I do, sometimes when you see somebody in a direct sales space that's had a lot of success, you just kind of think that there's this unicorn that lives in their house, and everything just, you call somebody and you just get a yes. Like, everything is just always goes in your way. I'd like to say that it did, because then maybe more of it would happen and the universe would make it easier. But I think that there is a reality of understanding how hard people are working behind the scenes. I think in a world where we live right now, people only see highlight reels, especially when it comes to, Facebook or Instagram. Mm-hmm. You only get to see the good things that happen. But we all have those days, and there's things where like, I don't always get to be on time for bedtime for my daughter. My husband, Mike, he's the best. He's the best stepfather. And he tends to be the one who spends the 15 minutes before bedtime doing kind of like the wind down with her. What happened at school? What was the best gossip? Like, he gets all the really fun secrets now. And where, when she was little, I did all that stuff. We read the bedtime stories and I did the bedtime type thing. But, as this has grown, I'm on calls at night, right? I don't work a 9 to 5, which is something that I chose to create. And I know that I'm not necessarily a 9 to 5er. Like I couldn't imagine clocking in on somebody else's time at this point.
I know. But
in doing so, I do work weekends. Like I do tastings on weekends and I help share hope that way and help people fundraise. And I do get on calls until 9:30 at night because, a lot of my teammates work 9 to 5. So by the time they've done dinner and bedtime with their kids, that's when they can talk. So I think it's being aware that, although it seems like everybody's life is always so perfect and everything is always working out, like people are working hard behind the scenes when they really, really want something. They're doing those calls, they're getting their no's, they're having their mini tantrums by themselves. They just don't show it to everybody because that's not part of the highlight reel. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're missing bedtime. Yeah. And it's a bummer.
It is. And sometimes we have to look at those. And I know, because very similar to you, my job isn't always 9 to 5. Yeah. But that also allows me to do some wonderful things, such as I do have the ability to pick Nicholas up at school. I was able to volunteer in the classroom because I could set my schedule up. And even though I might be on the road, there's times where I'm home over the summer or over extended periods. So you have to just make those trade-offs and find the balance within the imbalance to make sure that, again, when you're present, you're there and you're really focused. So I would love to open it up and ask you about your pacemaker, because I know you have a pacemaker and I'm sure that was a challenge you had to overcome. And, so tell us a little bit about that and maybe how that has impacted you, on the positive side.
Yeah. So I was not born with my heart condition. It happened when I was 2 years old. I had the chicken pox and the flu at the same time. And I kept complaining to my mom about my tummy hurting, not understanding my body parts, that it was actually my heart. And that's when they discovered my heart condition. So I do have heart block. I am 100% dependent on my pacemaker. I got my first one when I was 10 years old. We had moved to Colorado and the altitude just kind of exasperated it faster. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't keep up. And then from there, I had another surgery at 16, 17, 18, and 19. But I remember growing up always thinking, why can't I be normal? Like, why can't I be like everybody else? And in many ways, I was really embarrassed by my scar on my chest and by the fact that, like, sometimes I couldn't do what other people were doing. And as I've gotten older and kind of developed this like new person who I am that wants to always be working hard and always show my daughter to be proud of who she is and where she comes from and like her body and all these things, I've really learned how thankful I am and like what a blessing this actually is. It has shown me in so many ways. And I thank my parents a million times over. They never actually treated me different. It was all in my head, right? Mm-hmm. So I always felt like I was different, but they always, go on your spring break, go play soccer, play basketball, just do the things that you want to do. They never treated me differently, thank goodness. But I think it showed me, looking back, I didn't realize how strong I was. I mean, to go through 4 heart surgeries between 16, 17, 18, 19, mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's pretty amazing and magical. And give yourself some credit for that, girlfriend.
Definitely. And I think, talking about what you thought when you went through the reinvention of yourself and having this idea of grit, I would imagine so much of this actually taught you that. And that's probably one of the reasons you've been so successful in starting your own business, because again, you've already been through so much where you had to overcome.
And how blessed am I? So, here's one of the things is that's kind of crazy. And I'm just going to throw the statistic out, is that 1 to 2 million people actually die a year because they don't have access to a pacemaker.
Wow.
And I have been given life 6 extra times because of my pacemaker. And like, if I am not grateful and realize how blessed and like how strong I am, like shame on me. Right. And so, you know, there is a cause. It is a cause that's important to me. There is an organization that I choose to donate back to every single month because it turns out through this organization, $500 actually can save somebody else's life.
Oh my gosh. And what is the name of the organization if any of our viewers want to look into that?
Yeah, it's called Heartbeat Saves Lives. They're amazing. They have a whole Instagram handle and all that stuff.
And that's so amazing because, you know, $500 is a lot of money. And it's also not a lot of money when you think of the impact. And to know that we have the power, you know, in our contribution and what we do to be able to save another human, you know, and again, the ripple effect that has then with their family, the other people they connect with, you know, it's really important to see that. And that's another, you know, place of strength that we can all come from in paying it forward. Well, we're grateful for them and allowing you to be here with us. And, you know, all of those that, again, just going back to the bravery concept of living your life. And we have one life to live. So we might as well be brave and take our chances. So,
yeah.
So when you are looking at everything, because, you know, being a working mom, there's a lot going on there. What would you say are some of the best things that you have found about being a working mom?
I think one of the best things that happens is when you hear your daughter tell you how proud they are of you. There is something, you know, especially when it's like it's not prompted, you know, right. She just comes up to you and she goes, no, mommy, you're really good at what you do. You know, I use I don't know if this is allowed to be on TV, but like I use the word be a badass all the time. Be a badass with a kind heart, like just show up and do good. And I'll never forget the first time my daughter said, mommy, you are a badass. And I was like, I love you. I don't know if you're allowed to say that out in public, but I love you. Thank you for that.
Exactly. And it means so much because it's like that. Okay, I'm doing something right here. And they are seeing that. It's not they're seeing that I'm gone. They're seeing the impact, and it's being that role model to show them the same level of courage and grit and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I remember, so one of my girlfriends early on when I was a single mom and going through that transition, she had sent my daughter a t-shirt that said strong is the new pretty.
And I love that. I want one.
I know I need to get once this baby comes out, we'll get a whole new wardrobe. But this little girl is also probably going to need one too. But I remember her sending that shirt and just being like, yes. And like Ella took a picture and she like posed with her muscles and she gave a little duck face. And I was like, yes, queen, strong is the new pretty. Like you're going to be raised to learn that you are your own hero. Like we got here.
Exactly.
We did this.
It's funny that you say that. On my vision board, which is right in front of me, I have a picture and it has a Superman logo and it says, be your own hero. So it's true. I love that. That's fantastic. So looking back, and I know that everything we go through makes us who we are today, which is important to realize and be grateful for. But at the same time, if you could go back, is there anything you would do different this time around?
Oh, it kind of gave me like butterflies in my chest when you asked me this question. I would have chosen to trust myself sooner to do it. Yeah. Like that it took me a few years to really know like you're going to be okay and you can figure this out. And I looking back, I would have been like, you've always figured it out. Like even with the pacemakers, you've always figured it out. You're going to figure it out. So I probably would look back at my younger self and been like, go do you, like, don't wait. Right. But that one got me. Wow, girlfriend, you got me on that one. Like that gave me like those little butterflies inside. Like, oh, you know the right answer.
Yeah. And it's again, you and I are very parallel. And that was exactly what I would say too. I would have trusted myself a lot sooner. I had the fear of the security and the worthiness. And I think if I had to do it, I would have done it several years earlier, because it's been an amazing ride. So in getting ready to close our time out today, what would be a message that you would want to pass on to our viewers? What is one thing that you really would love to have them take away from our time together?
Well, I feel like I have a few things.
Lay them out there.
So I would tell everybody to find that little grit inside of you and know that you have that power. Like, it's in there, girlfriend. Like, go find it, go run with it. I always tell my team, puff your chest, wear your crown, stand up straight, own it. Like, whatever it is that you're doing, just own it. Because it's in there. You got to find that little fire inside of you and run with it. And then I would probably also share with people always, like, live in a world of abundance, not scarcity. And when you live in this abundant world, that, watching others succeed does not take away from you succeeding. Mm-hmm. You're going to have much, even bigger appreciation for seeing other women trailblaze before you, knowing that if they can do it, you can do it. Like, don't let that take away from your success, because if anything, they're helping you get there. And so, like, cheer for them. Like, it's kind of always easier to cheer for the underdog. Go cheer for somebody who's doing a little bit better than you, and know that they're doing it because they're showing you what's possible, and, like, take that little grit inside and follow right behind.
I love that. Those are great messages. Thank you for those. So, well, you definitely are a badass, and you definitely, take the chances as they come through you. And I know that you're making a huge impact with the people that you work with. You are changing lives for the other women and other people that are on your team with you, and showing them the power of abundance in everything you do. And I know you're being an amazing role model for your current daughter and your new little baby badass that's on the way too. So thank you so much for sharing today with all of us. And I know some of our viewers are probably going to want to look you up and stay connected and hear more about your story. So where can our viewers find you?
Yeah, so you can always follow me on Instagram. So my handle is just @JessLandau with the 1 S. And then I'm okay if anybody ever wants to email me too, which is just landau.jess@gmail. Again, only 1 S. My parents make fun of me for it, but if Jennifer's can have 1 N, Jessica's can have 1 S.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those would probably be the two best ways. I share a lot, especially on my Instagram, about the journey of being an entrepreneur, being a mom, and, hopefully being a badass. Definitely being a badass. So you've already got that. Well, thank you again so much for your time today. I really appreciate your messages of, being bold, taking chances, not being afraid to reinvent ourselves. And again, just getting up every day and working, putting the work in so that we can see the success. So thank you so much for your time today. Oh my gosh, thank you. This was so much fun. You were the best. I love it. So thank you.